Who's next? Shay?
Yes, Shay is in the building. I am
With
in the
your
building.
Steganography, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't
Good
say
job,
it.
Mia Morris. You did good. See, it wasn't
Yeah.
no thing.
Excellent.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I was even going to say, if you want me to go, kind of break the ice, I was going to volunteer, but I knew you got it.
She did great.
All right, let me see. I'm going to share my screen. We'll jump right into it. Let's see. Which screen do I want? Screen. Okay. Select this. See, entire screen. And I think it's going to be this one. Yeah? High five. Can you guys see? Is that the right one?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining me in this masterclass presentation on steganography, Unveiling the Art of Concealment. I am your presenter, Shay. So tonight's agenda, I'm going to kind of go through really fast because I really want to jump into the demo. I'm going to give you a brief definition and overview, kind of discuss its historical context, and then I'll discuss how it can be used from both an ethical and unethical standpoint, and then kind of highlight a real-world use case involving the CIA and its intelligence operations as it pertains to Iran and later on China. I'll also kind of go over the role steganography plays in how information security is assessed. And then, like I said, I have a VM spun up, so I'm going to jump in and give you guys a demo of how easy it actually is, and the different ways that you can utilize it. All right, so imagine a world where secrets are hidden in plain sight, disguised within innocent-looking images, audios, or text files. Welcome to the realm of steganography, the art of covert communication. So, what is steganography? The technical definition is derived from steganos, which means covered or concealed, and grapheme, which means writing or drawing. And it's basically the practice of hiding information within data. From a security standpoint, steganography is the practice of concealing one piece of information within another, typically by hiding either like a message or data within different files, images, audio, even video, so that on the surface, everything appears to be normal. The primary objective is to ensure that the hidden information is not easily detectable by anyone who either does not have the means to decrypt it or extract the data, or even have knowledge of its existence or where to look. And that goes for both an ethical and unethical purposes. Some people kind of confuse steganography with cryptography, but where the two differ is that steganography it's all about concealing the fact that additional data even exists, where cryptography is concerned with protecting the data through the use of algorithms. Ethical application it's a versatile technique that actually has numerous legitimate uses across different fields. With data security, steganography provides a solution that addresses concerns of secure data transmission, protection against data theft and sensitive document storage. Organizations might use it as a means to ensure confidentiality when data needs to be sent over public networks. Hiding critical data and otherwise meaningless looking files is another way that it serves as an additional layer of defense by reducing the likelihood that theft of that data will take place. And embedding critical information allows an organization to store and archive it in such a manner that prevents unauthorized access. And one of the few instances where steganography isn't trying to be so covert is in copyright protection, and the most common form being the digital watermarks that content creators use to safeguard their intellectual property, kind of as seen in this picture here, where you kind of see it preview. So that's still considered steganography. And then, of course, it's used to ensure the authenticity of documents by acting as sort of like a digital signature or a fingerprint. The goal is to make the product tamper-proof. And a perfect example that everyone knows about and probably handles on a daily basis is money. Currency is another great example of how steganography is used, and in the form of color shifting ink, UV and infrared ink, microprinting, hidden images, and even security threads, as well as watermarks. Now, on the flip side, for most legitimate uses, there are of course counterparts. So where covert communication is used to protect classified or secret, information, we undoubtedly experience instances where criminals use steganography to hide instructions, plans, sensitive information, and as I'll show you, payloads, as well as stagers that will perform functions on their behalf without much user interaction. They use this method as a means of coordinating cyber attacks and distributing malware, planning criminal operations. Foreign intelligence agencies and spies, and even perhaps terrorist groups might employ steganography and hang out with Neomaris on the dark web doing their onion tea stuff. A couple of weeks ago, I remember Nick talked about piracy and how one of the ramifications of engaging in theft of copyrighted material is that you might download something that contains malware, which is probably the most kind of common reason for using pirated software. But steganography is also used as a means to circumvent digital rights management protections. What individuals will do is they'll hide copyrighted content within legitimate files to evade detection and then distribute that copyrighted material illegally. Malicious actors can also hide stolen data. If they're trying to exfiltrate stuff and they kind of want to stay under the radar and make it look like these things are normal processes, then it's a tactic that they'll use to make it harder for security systems to detect. And then I'll show you kind of a proof of concept later where that can be done. Criminals use it to embed malicious code and malware within files, bypassing security measures and infecting target systems, which will enable them to run commands, install programs, communicate with the C2 server, etc., etc. And see, like great minds think alike. Me and Mars, I have a quote too. Sometimes the most effective form of communication is the one that no one notices. And that was by David Goyer, who's a screenwriter for the Dark Knight trilogy. A use case was the CIA comms communication catastrophe. So from around 2009 to 2013, the intelligence community kind of like experienced really crushing failures related to its secret internet-based communication system, which was a key means for remote messaging between CIA officers and then their sources, but primarily in China and Iran, where the problem originated and then spiderwebbed to other countries, despite warnings about what could happen. One of the largest failures occurred or started in Iran around 2009, which was a little after the Stuxnet virus. Iran was kind of angered about the breach and the damage that was caused by that virus, and so they knew that there was some kind of mole. And it really didn't take them a lot of time to figure it out because the communication system that the CIA was using was extremely flawed. The risks that posed by the system appeared to have been overlooked in part because it was really easy to use. With even the CIA's directorate saying that it was impregnable, but about a year later, around 2010, Iran had already started to identify CIA agents, and within a year after that, had already dismantled their network in that country, based on reports from other former intelligence officials. The use of sloppy steganography and messaging platforms that were operated by the CIA, and it's like over 300 websites, had led to the capture and prosecution and most likely execution of numerous Iranian informants who were working with the United States and providing them with military intelligence and other sensitive state secrets. So the lesson here was, even though it can be a powerful means to conceal information, putting too much trust into that methodology can lead to having like a false sense of security and overconfidence in one's ability to go and remain undetected. As we saw, hubris, arrogance, and even a lack of conviction to ensure a certain level of protection to those who are helping you out ended up costing people their lives, freedom, and it really destroyed the trust and credibility that the U.S. had established with Iranian nationals. Okay, demonstration time. So before I kind of go into the VM, I'm going to kind of just go over briefly the tools that I'm going to be using. One of them is called StakeHide. It's a open source tool. It works on all platforms, so it doesn't matter if you're running Windows, Linux, Mac, it'll work. StakeHide allows users to embed a variety of data types, and it supports JPEG, PNG, bitmap, although bitmap tends to be a little bit larger in size, and compressed formats like JPEG and PNG work better. WAV files are also supported. The only downside to StakeHide is that movie files are not supported. And then another important thing to remember is that if StakeHide is used to embed data, it also must be used to extract it. So this would be a tool that would be used between two parties that want to communicate covertly and use traditional forms of communication to conduct their covert communication. So it would already be understood that data or media that would be being sent over the wire has some form of hidden message that they would they would on their end know how to extract and decode. And a cool feature about it is that you can password protect the embedded data. So you set a password, and whoever wants to extract that data would need the password. The other one, it's a command line tool. It's called Exif tool, and this thing is like super powerful. It has an extensive library for reading and writing, and also manipulating metadata, which is like data about data. Just like StakeHide, it's also cross-platform, and it doesn't stop at just audio and images for its capabilities. You can use Exif tool for video, raw files, documents, HTML. You can embed stuff in fonts, archives. It can handle geospatial data formats like GPX and GPS, and it can even interact with file system metadata like permissions and owner information, and modify timestamps on Unix and Linux environments. So it's like it's a really powerful tool. So what I'll do is I'm going to show you guys how I can embed base64 encoded scripting, and then utilize automation to perform functions on a victim's computer without them knowing that I did anything. So let me go ahead and jump into that. Can you guys see? You still see my Kali VM up?
Yes.
Okay. So, oh, dang, I still have my Hunter stuff up. Okay, sorry. Okay. Get rid of you. So, we're going to go into demo. I've already written out the scripts, and I'll go over them so that you guys can see. So, we'll start with these pictures here. These will be my starter pictures, and I'll use one for each different kind of demo. The first one that I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and do the StakeHide one. And so what I have here are two different. Can you guys? Is it not big enough? So I have two different scripts that I wrote. Let me go ahead and open this up and kind of show you what this one is. So here, what I've done is I've kind of created some variables that have some predefined information as far as where the secret file is located, what kind of picture I'm going to use, the name of the output image, because once I embed this picture with this file, it'll output this image. This is the passphrase that I'm going to use. Just keep it simple. I have some error checking here, so this is kind of my way of like seeing if there's any bugs. Then I get little messages, but I've already kind of gone through this and they work just fine. So this right here, this particular script will simply just encode the or embed the image. It's going to take this file right here and it's going to put it in this picture. And then this picture will have another picture. And that would be the one that I would send to whoever I want to communicate with. And then on their end, we would just pretend like they got the picture. This would be something that they would have to do to extract the file. And so here's what they would run. They would, extract more variables to define locations and passphrases, and then the actual extracting the file is this one right here. Is this big hide extract? It calls this variable here an output file. It uses the passphrase. And so what I did was I decided to use the demo directory and this file name to show how this file and then where the other one will show up over here, and this file will be the same. So I'll pull up a terminal. Go ahead and oops. All right. So for the first one, I'll do stake hide. Go ahead and run that. And you see here, can I zoom in on this? Dang it, I can't. I don't know how. Please don't. So here you see file embedded successfully with passphrase, and as we can see here is our other picture. You'll also notice that the size of this file is a little bit bigger here. This is 205. This is 192. So it has now this file in it. And the other person would then get this picture. You'd already prearranged the password that you would need to extract it. So I'll go ahead and you'll see as I run this other command, this other program, the text file pop up over here. We're going to have stag unhide. And there it is. So here is the extracted file. I'll go ahead and open this up. It's a secret message. And just for confirmation, proof of concept, we'll pull this one up, secret file, and you see they're the same. All right. Now for the other one is going to be a little bit more malicious, or can be, as an example, how malicious actors can use this kind of tactic to do remote code execution, download, install, and really kind of run amok. So again, it's a two-part thing where I have a payload and I have a stager. I'll go ahead and start with the payload and show you what this looks like. So what this is doing here is this is going to be the proof of concept that I have access to a system and that I can install files on someone's system. What this is doing here is it's creating a variable that I later call to pass through to be encoded, and I then embed base 64 content into a picture. And then what I will do is create my own user-defined metadata tag called certificate, so that it looks professional, or anything that you wouldn't kind of like, an unsuspecting person wouldn't think twice about it. It creates its own user. I create my own user-defined meta tag, and then I embed the base 64 command. So this is what would get embedded as base 64 content. The stager, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, like, on purpose, kind of like make it hang so that you'll see that the error checking at the bottom, you'll see this come up, because when you go to execute, where you actually need to download it, it needs to then be extracted, converted again, and then evaluated. There's a thing that I wanted to show you guys, the difference between just pulling a URL and then having to like go one step further and getting the complete URL with the picture's extension so that it downloads properly. Here, I would then put the URL in this place. I left it open because I don't know what it's going to be yet. I'm in this section. I'm defining my staging directory and the name of the picture that I'm going to be downloading, the output file of it. I've got some more error checking here where there's any kind of issues. It'll tell me that it didn't download. Over here, this is the part where I'm extracting the data. So I'm running exif tool again, and I'm piping it into awk, where I'm isolating that line where it's that user-defined meta tag, and then deleting spaces and colons, and I'm just pulling what would be then the second column. That's what this part here is. And so all I have is in my variable just the base 64 encoded content. I then bring it over here to where I'm going to go ahead and type that into base 64 to decode. And then once it's been converted into this again, I'm going to go ahead and execute it. And then at the end, I do a little bit of cleanup. So I will put, just like, again, for proof of concept, this is where the file will show up if all this stuff runs correctly. And then I do cleanup. So I go back, I make sure that the temp directory is deleted so that there's no proof that I was there. There's no cookies. There's no IOCs or anything like that. So first thing is to go ahead and run the payload. So go ahead and run. And you should see here again, Whale and Whale GPG original. So this is the original file. This is without the encoding. This is the one that does have the encoding. It's very small. As you see, it's not really a major change in the size of the file. And to kind of get an idea of what it would look like, we're just going to run exif tool. I'm going to go ahead and pull this in here. And you'll get to see right here, certificate is what I defined. And here is my base 64 payload. And to look at this one so that you can see the difference between the two, there is no certificate part here. It has been completely stripped. So now I need to upload it. So we're going to host it. And I mean, it's kind of scary because this is a site that I found that does image hosting, bookmarks. don't even need to like log in. You don't need to register. You don't need to sign up for anything. You can create an account, but as you'll see, it would be like a perfect place for somebody who's doing some nefarious stuff to stage their malware. And I'll show you just how simple it is. I'm going to go ahead and take my picture. This is the one that's infected. I'm just going to drag it right here, and I can have the picture be auto deleted in as little as 5 minutes after I upload it. So it won't even leave any kind of trace on here, and it's going to upload with that base 64 encoding. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and open this link. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you first what not to do. What you would typically do when you're using like URLs is you would go ahead and plug this into reload stager. I would plug this in right here. Go ahead and save it. And I'm going to run this. And you see my error right here, file not found in demo. Well, everything worked except extraction. Because what ended up occurring was, and we can see that it downloaded just fine, because I'll go to my temp folder and we see there it is. But the problem is, there's actually two problems. One, I pulled this page, which came with a bunch of garbage that I don't want, and it also stripped what I needed the most. So let's go ahead and find out what it really contained. You notice it's got all this garbage here, whales, this Facebook stuff, image upload, but no certificate. And it was replaced with this token. So what do we do? How do we fix it? Well, we go here to share, and we pull this part. Come on, you. All right. Go ahead and pull that. I'm going to replace my code with the full path. I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to go back to my terminal. I'm going to go ahead and remove that image file. And now I'm going to rerun it, and we should see a "You've been hacked" file pop up. Boom. There it is. You've been hacked. I can encrypt files. I can let them know this is the only document you're going to see. This is how you give me your money. This is where you got to send your stuff to. I'm hanging out on the dark web. And to double check, see that it's no longer there because I cleaned it up. Yeah. So, pull this up. Any questions? I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Questions? Yay? Nay? No?
I'm just. That was very cool.
Yeah.
That was very cool. But you see, this is stuff I was trying to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
See, Nia Mar's playing like she don't know. See, that's good.
Yeah.
She keeping her cover. She like Mr. Robot
She actually
going and working as just a little quiet security consultant during the day, at night busting people, and exposing
I'm
you,
dying.
having a cop showing up. But no,
But
yeah.
see,
So
yeah.
it's like it's scary how easy it is. But imagine if I were to just use like and Cali is like really cool. Like there's a lot of cool tools in Cali. It's got its own social engineering toolkit where I mean you can hide stuff that is very quiet and it's very portable. I can send you something that I'm pretty sure with some like OSINT, some good OSINT, get you to click on something that looks like it's trusted. You won't even know that there was anything wrong with it because it's all done in the background and it will like kind of hijack already running processes. So it uses what's called is like living off the land. There's a term for lolbos, living off the land, where you're basically using the host machines or your target machines um, its own environment, stuff that it's is normal to its system. Um, you click on this document. I'm waiting. I'm on my end. I've got I opened up a little server that I'm listening on a certain port. I mean, I busted out Python and I got my port listening for your connection. You connect to me, and now I have access to your machine. See, it's one thing to like try to get into a person's um, home network by going through their router. That's harder because you'd have to like hack the router. You'd have to go in, do some port forwarding. There still may be like some security in place where it doesn't allow certain kind of connections. But the thing about firewalls is it's like it's like um, it's like the guy that collects or the woman that collects your ticket at a sporting event. You can't get into the sporting event unless you get your ticket, but it don't care who's leaving. And it's the same way with like network traffic. When you want to go look at the web, the firewall don't care. It's like, yeah, well, I'm letting everything come out because it's coming from within your private network. So it's already kind of feeling like this everything is trusted. So a reverse shell is just simply you on your end saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you," without you knowing you even wanted to talk to me because I'm so cool. And
See,
then
that's just
once
yeah.
I have that connection, then I go in and I'm doing all this stuff on your end. I'm going in and I'm using the command line to curl and download documents. I've already got the stuff set up on my own side. I'm ready. I'm waiting, and then oh yeah, you guys can't see anymore. But yeah, I go back to my image
But that
upload.
that is the crazy. That's the crazy scary part is being
Yeah,
able to get into someone else's system and do those things to them. And it's like I don't have any questions. I'm just kind of back in why I've stopped watching those cyber hacking
well,
shows.
Nehemiah's kind of like did me a solid by introducing the first half of how this stuff is
Mm-hmm.
actually done. I go through a VPN. I use proxy
Totally opened it
chaining.
up for you.
Yeah, I use a VPN. I use proxy chaining and Tor, the Tor browser. I upload my picture that has absolutely no personal identifiable information because I've stripped all the metadata from it. I've only curated what I wanted to put into it. I found a site that doesn't ask me for my name, my phone number, my address, my email. I don't need to go check no confirmation. I don't have to get multi-factor. I don't have to do none of that. I simply drag and drop. I get a link, and in 5 minutes, it's gone. And
Well, and
even
you
if
have to
you
wonder
were,
what that image website has to do. What are they doing in the background too?
well, that's just it.
It's there for a reason.
Even if they are logging, traffic. Guess what? I hit you guys up from Finland. My Tor, like the cool thing about VPN and then that Tor is that what they see is an IP address from somewhere else,
Yeah.
and it goes to at least three. Like that's the minimum is three. And if I'm doing it on my computer, I'm first gonna establish how I'm gonna do. Like, if I wanted to do it, and I know I wouldn't. It would be very hard to trace it back. I would set up. I would actually set up a Bastion server. So I would do a VPN into a cloud EC2 instance that's running that's running a VPN software, because free VPN, they're still selling your stuff. Like, if you see VPN services, you can get free VPN, and they're most likely selling your information to be able to cover the the cost of hosting your browsing. They also will kind of like reduce how much browsing you can do, so you won't be able to have a lot of data. So they'll have a limit on it. But I would actually set up my own. I'd have my own like firewalls in place, and I would do it through like a cloud server. And then so I would connect from my computer through the VPN on a cloud server. From there, I'm gonna use what's known as Tails. I actually talked about this yesterday with Gary. There's an operating system called Tails, which is called the Amnesic Incognito Live System. It doesn't store any of whatever you're doing while you're on it. I'd run through Tails through its Tor browser, and I would actually do like maybe 8 or 9 different connections for proxy chaining. So by the time I get to image upload, I've routed through 7 countries, a VPN tunnel, a Bastion router, and a cloud server that's running my own VPN software, and then it comes back to my home. And even then, I might not even use my own router. I mean, I'd probably hack somebody else.
You're right, Gary. You can hear the passion. He's definitely found what he likes to do. That's for sure. Yeah. And you better leave your mic on so we can hear if somebody comes, if the feds come banging down your door. So
they're already listening. And I'm not even worried.
I know.
We Gary, we be talking about it like, you know what, I'm all for the NSA. Let them know how I can
That's what I say. They can come here. They won't find anything.
I hope they listen, and please be paying attention. Yes, I am Middle Eastern.
Yeah, pay attention.
And
you'll work for them.
American.
You have no problems working for them and showing them how it's done.
Nope.
Exactly.
Nope, I don't.
All right, we should move on because we have a lot of people to go on. But this was great. It was an excellent, very good information. Nice.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. Charlene, I believe you are next.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Just share my screen. Can you guys see this right here?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so my presentation is about conflict resolution.
That's all, folks.